Britain, the 1960s, a decade of optimism, motorway dreams, and showroom promises that glittered under fluorescent lights. Engineers believed anything was possible, designers chased brilliance, buyers queued with hope in their hearts and cash in their pockets, but behind the polished brochures, something was going badly wrong. Bold ideas collapsed under rushed development, clever engineering hid dangerous flaws, fortunes were staked, then lost, on cars nobody truly wanted. Today on Britain Rewind we are counting down 10 strange British cars that left owners full of regret. Some embarrassed their makers, some bankrupted them, and the car at number 1 remains one of Britain's greatest motoring disasters. Number 10. Peel P50. Picture the Isle of Man, 1962. A tiny workshop unveils something extraordinary, the world's smallest production car. The Peel P50 measured barely 4 feet long, weighed under 60 kilograms, and could be lifted by hand rather than reversed. Buyers were fascinated. Here was proof that British ingenuity could shrink motoring down to its absolute minimum. A single-cylinder 49 cubic centimeters engine drove one rear wheel, producing just over 4 horsepower. There was no reverse gear at all. Owners simply grabbed the built-in handle and dragged the car backwards themselves. That charm wore thin quickly. On a wet Douglas street, with only 1 seat and 1 door, the P50 felt less like transport and more like a stunt. Would you have trusted something this small on a real road? Fewer than 50 were built before production quietly ended in 1965. Decades later it became a cult curiosity, but original owners remembered something else entirely, a novelty that never grew into a proper car. Number 9. Reliant Regal. For thousands of British families, the Reliant Regal represented a clever compromise. 3 wheels meant cheaper road tax and a motorcycle license would do, so it slipped neatly around the cost of a proper car. Fiberglass bodywork kept weight down, and a lightweight aluminium engine gave it surprising economy. On paper, it looked ideal for budget-conscious buyers navigating 1960s Britain. On the road, the story changed completely. That single front wheel created a narrow, unstable track, and enthusiastic cornering could tip the Regal alarmingly onto 2 wheels. Passengers gripped their seats as the whole cabin leaned and groaned. Have you ever seen one wobbling round a roundabout? Many owners quietly admitted they never fully trusted it at speed. Comedy sketches later mocked its tendency to topple, cementing a reputation the Regal never shook off. It sold steadily through sheer necessity, yet plenty of drivers privately wished they'd stretch to a 4th wheel. The next car swapped instability for something far more unpredictable. Number 8. Triumph Vitesse. Launched in 1962, the Triumph Vitesse promised something thrilling: 6-cylinder power squeezed into a compact Herald-based saloon. Buyers loved the idea of genuine performance wrapped in everyday practicality. Early reviews praised its punchy engine and sporting character. But underneath, Triumph had kept the Herald swing-axle rear suspension, a design that behaved unpredictably once cornering forces built up. As the outer wheel tucked under during hard cornering, the rear end could suddenly lift and snap into vicious oversteer. Enthusiastic drivers found themselves fighting a car that seemed to have a mind of its own. Would this have put you off buying one? Many owners discovered the hard way, usually on a wet roundabout with little warning beforehand. Triumph spent years quietly re-engineering the rear end, eventually taming the worst behavior. By then, though, word had spread through pubs and workshops alike. A genuinely exciting car had earned itself a frightening reputation it never entirely deserved. Number 7. Hillman Imp. Roots Group needed a mini-beater, and in 1963 the Hillman Imp arrived with genuine promise. An all-alloy overhead camshaft engine, rear-mounted like a miniature Porsche, gave it lively performance journalists genuinely admired. Independent suspension made it fun through corners. For a moment, Britain believed it had a proper rival to BMC's Darling. Then reality intervened. Rushed onto sale before development finished, early Imps suffered defective water pumps, faulty automatic chokes and chronic overheating. Owners watched temperature gauges nervously on every journey. Few realized the trouble stemmed partly from mechanics unfamiliar with aluminium engines, over-tightening cylinder heads and making things worse. That should have been solvable within months. Unfortunately, the damage to its reputation happened almost instantly, and it never fully recovered. Built in a brand new Scottish factory plagued by industrial disputes, the Imp limped through years of quiet improvement while buyers looked elsewhere. Number 6. Riley Elf and Wolseley Hornet. By 1961, BMC faced a curious challenge: how to sell the brilliant new Mini to buyers who considered it too plain. Their answer was the Riley Elf and Wolseley Hornet, essentially Minis wearing extended boots, chrome grills, and a badge suggesting something grander underneath. Traditionalist buyers were charmed initially. Here was Mini practicality dressed in respectable, old-fashioned styling, complete with walnut dashboards and leather trim. Surely this justified the higher price tag? Most drivers eventually noticed the awkward truth. Underneath the fussy exterior sat exactly the same mechanicals as the cheaper Mini parked next door, only heavier and less aerodynamic because of that oddly grafted boot. Have you ever seen one and wondered why it existed? Owners paying a premium slowly realized they'd bought badge and boot lid rather than genuine engineering improvement. Sales never threatened the standard Mini's dominance. It remained a curious footnote, proof that British manufacturers sometimes confused buyers rather than genuinely serving them. Number 5. Austin Morris 1800 Land Crab. Unveiled in 1964, the Austin 1800 carried enormous expectations. Designed by Alec Isagonis, creator of the beloved Mini, it promised space-age engineering, front-wheel drive, hydroelastic suspension, and cavernous interior space for a mid-sized family saloon. Critics were genuinely impressed, eventually crowning it European Car of the Year. Showroom customers reacted differently. Its unusually wide, low stance earned an unflattering nickname almost immediately: the Land Crab. Worse followed once cars reached driveways. A faulty dipstick calibration caused persistent overfilling, sending oil burning through the exhaust in embarrassing blue clouds. Gear levers jumped stubbornly out of first gear, and steering racks rattled irritatingly over rough roads. Stay with us, because things only became stranger. Despite genuine engineering brilliance underneath, buyers simply couldn't forgive that unglamorous appearance and nagging early faults. Sales limped far behind BMC's ambitious targets for years. Today enthusiasts admire its innovation, but original owners mostly remembered frustration, oil smoke, and a nickname that stuck like glue. Number 4. Keeble GK1. Few stories capture 1960s British ambition quite like the Keeble. Unveiled properly in 1964, this Southampton-built Grand Tourer combined elegant batoned styling with a thunderous American Chevrolet V8, promising genuine supercar performance for a fraction of Aston Martin money. Motoring journalists were smitten. Blistering acceleration, comfortable cruising, and handsome looks suggested Britain had created something remarkable. Buyers who ordered one felt genuinely proud, believing they'd found an overlooked bargain. Priced far too cheaply to cover production costs, Keeble hemorrhaged money on every single car sold. A crippling supplier strike then halted steering box deliveries completely. Within months the company collapsed into liquidation, leaving owners holding beautifully engineered cars from a manufacturer that no longer existed. Would you have trusted a warranty from a company already failing? Barely 100 were ever built. A brilliant idea, doomed by simple arithmetic nobody at Keeble had properly worked out beforehand. The next entry took financial disaster to another level entirely. Number 3. Jensen FF. Unveiled at Earl's Court in 1966, the Jensen FF looked like Britain's answer to Ferrari, wrapped around genuinely revolutionary engineering. Permanent four-wheel drive, developed with tractor pioneer Harry Ferguson, combined with Dunlop's aircraft-derived anti-lock brakes, technology no road car anywhere had offered before. Motoring journalists were staggered, crowning it Car of the Year in 1967. Buyers, however, hesitated badly. Nearly identical in looks to Jensen's cheaper Interceptor, the FF cost around 30% more for advantages many drivers simply couldn't justify. Right-hand drive only, Thanks to that complex four-wheel drive layout, further limited exports just when America beckoned. Few owners realized what happened next. Despite genuine engineering brilliance, sales barely trickled in, ending after roughly 320 cars across 5 years. Decades later, Audi engineers reportedly studied a used FF while developing their famous Quattro system. Jensen had built tomorrow's technology, then watched almost nobody notice, a genuinely tragic case of Britain being years too far ahead. The next car took financial disaster to another level entirely. Number 2, Vanden Plas Princess for Litre R. In 1964, BMC unveiled what seemed a golden partnership, a luxurious Vanden Plas saloon powered by a genuine Rolls-Royce engine. Buyers were captivated by the prestige alone. Leather seats, walnut trim and that legendary badge under the bonnet suggested effortless, aristocratic motoring. Reality proved considerably messier. The Rolls-Royce unit, actually derived from military applications rather than any road car, brought complexity without matching reliability. Corrosion attacked bodywork mercilessly, while quality control never matched the engine's exalted reputation. Even BMC's own chairman reportedly grew tired of customers complaining about cars he'd personally championed. The biggest disappointment hasn't fully landed yet, because sales collapsed dramatically after initial enthusiasm faded. What began as a genuine sales surge trickled away to almost nothing by 1968. Owners who'd paid handsomely for reflected Rolls-Royce glamour instead inherited an unreliable orphan. Production ended after barely 6,000 cars, a humiliating outcome for a name meant to represent Britain's motoring aristocracy. Number 1, Austin 3 Litre. Nothing on this list compares to what happened next. Announced amid genuine fanfare in 1967, the Austin 3 Litre was meant to crown BMC's entire range, a proper executive saloon to rival Rover and Jaguar. Motoring journalists, invited early, reacted with barely disguised embarrassment instead. When it finally reached showrooms in 1968, buyers stayed away in droves. Sharing its center section with a smaller, cheaper model meant less interior space despite a much larger body, an almost comical engineering own goal. That legroom shortfall left rear passengers cramped inside a car marketed on spaciousness. Worse still, the Austin badge simply couldn't convince buyers this was genuine luxury, whatever wood and leather BMC piled inside. Production never reached even half its break-even target of 50 cars weekly. Just under 10,000 were built across 3 miserable years before BMC quietly axed it in 1971. A flagship meant to inspire national pride became, instead, British motoring's most spectacular own goal. 10 strange cars, 10 very different stories, yet each one reveals something honest about 1960s Britain: extraordinary ambition, brilliant engineering minds, and manufacturers who occasionally forgot to finish the job properly before selling to trusting customers. These weren't failures born from laziness. They came from genuine risk-taking in a fiercely competitive decade. Which car surprised you most? Would you have owned any of them, whatever the neighbors thought? Let us know in the comments below, and share your own family memories of these forgotten machines. If you enjoyed this journey through Britain's motoring past, please like the video, subscribe to Britain Rewind, and join us for the next interesting countdown.